Welcome to the Lowdown Mortgage Podcast, the show where we dive deep into the topics that directly impact the evolving originator. I'm your host, Connor Bartley. Bam! And joining me today is a guy that got into the business because he just needed a J-O-B, a former ops guy turned top producing loan officer and leader. He has built his business through social media and not really doing a lot of cold calling. He's proving that with the right systems, the right mindset, and a little creativity, you can build familiarity before you even pick up the phone. Daniel Solis, welcome to the Lowdown.
Dude, I'm so excited to be here. I just got to give you some honor, man. I just appreciate you allowing me to be on here. I've seen your content on LinkedIn and just some different things. I love what you're doing. I love what you're about. So being able to be on here with you I've just been looking forward to it.
Man, thank you for that. I appreciate it, man. Well, this is exciting for me. Always great to unpack things with someone who's out there talented, making an impact on the business. And so, let's start from the beginning. It's a very good place to start. A little Sound of Music there for anyone who's a fan of that. But you didn't start out intending to be a loan officer. And I kind of teased this in the introduction. Tell us how you got your start in the mortgage industry.
Yeah, man, it was all over the place. I don't think anybody wakes up and says, when I grow up, I want to be a loan officer. You know what I mean? It just never does. But for me, to give a really fast synopsis of it is that I graduated college with an exercise science degree with the full intention of being a physical therapist. I loved the field until I actually worked in the field, and I was like, yeah, not for me. So after I graduated college, I did the most practical thing, and I went and sold cars. And so I worked in the car business for 2 years, and I was like, wow, I never want to work in the car business again. I was like, I'm good to go. So after that, I did the most practical thing. And I stumbled into the mortgage business. I literally stumbled into it. I sent an email to somebody I knew that worked at a mortgage company. I said, I don't care what I make, just get me out of the car business. We brought me into operations at a very large mortgage company. And I kind of just had to figure it out day one. I knew how to spell the word mortgage, like literally know how to spell the word mortgage. But that was all I knew. That was it. So I had to learn very quickly what a mortgage was and how this entire process of what a loan looks like and how it benefits people and how to make it work. I had to learn this business very fast.
Yeah. And so you got started on the operations side and then moved over into production. How did being on the ops side, how has that influenced you on the production side?
The company that I worked at, we had a culture of that we served the loan officer, right? We served the loan officer. And we also had this culture of we weren't going to allow loans to be denied. It was almost like this culture was set that we were so bought in that it was almost like our loans being processed, right? They were the family that was being processed. And what it did was it almost made this drive, this motivation for us to say, we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure these loans go through. Well, when I finally went to the sales side, because I had that mindset already instilled inside of me, when I got to the sales side, it became that same drive, that same mindset. I said, man, these are my families. These aren't just loan numbers. These are people. I had the technical skills of the guidelines and working loans. And then I just got to use those same technical processes on this other side, which creates so much value for us because, I would say 30% of our loans are loan saves. And when you're talking to real estate agents and we're talking to people and they say, what's your value? And I'm like, well, 30% of our business is loan saves. And they're like, well, that's cool. And I'm like, but hear what I'm saying to you. If 30% of our business is loan saves, and maybe that translates to 20 deals, and those 20 deals have an average loan amount or sales price of $330,000. What I'm really saying is I'm saving $6.6 million a year. But if that's not big enough for you, what I'm really saying is that the buyer agent and the listing agent attached to those transactions are still making their commission. I'm really keeping about $400,000 in the pockets of my agents every year because of the technical skills that I developed from the operational side. There's an easy value prop if you need one, but that's what I'm saying. And that's how it's translated. I'm making agents more money by being able to save it by the technical skills that I learned in operations.
Well, I love the mathematics you just put out there. That's phenomenal, man. Anybody who's heard that should take notes. That's a great way to have a conversation. And so when you first transitioned over into sales, You mentioned that just in kind of our preparation for this, that the training that you received was more or less just like, just go call everybody, right? And so getting started with sort of that guidance, like what was your experience just from the beginning?
Yeah, I got licensed, and it was an interesting time because I had a daughter that was being born 3 months later, and I jumped into sales. I was like, I don't have a choice but to succeed at this. I don't have a choice. So I remember going to the branch manager, and I called him. I think I got licensed, and then I had a conversation with him. He called me, and he was like, "Yeah, so pick up the phone and call everybody." And in my mind, I'm like, "Man, these people want to hear from me. They want to talk to me." And so I start dialing for dollars, right? So I start calling people, and this is Daniel. I'm a loan officer. I'm ready to help. Click. Oh, this is Daniel. I can add some click. And I'm like, okay, these people don't really want to talk to me. And so when I go back to him and I'm like, hey, so there's got to be a better way to do this. And I get no, you just need to call more people. I'm like, man, that can't, that can't be it. That can't be it. So for me, I had to get strategic with it and really learn how do I do this without just calling people all day long, and I be really strategic with it. And just as the branch manager and the support and all that, it's a separate, I mean, that could be a separate conversation in itself. Is like it's not just about telling people to call people. It's about showing them how to do it, going into it. Like that's a whole tangent I could go off on.
Yeah.
About that. But so yeah, for me, when I first got in the business, it was call everybody. And I realized very quickly that the real strategy behind it was not to just call everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if everybody's just calling everybody, then it becomes a huge mess and it leads to nobody wants to talk to anybody because they've heard it all before or it just feels canned. And yeah, so I mean, when we talk about new loan officers, what's the gap there? Like, where do you think they're missing when it comes to learning how to build real relationships and have real conversation?
Yeah, I love that question. And if it's one question that I'll get asked, or people will get asked all the time, I'll see thrown around, is if I could go back and be a new loan officer, like what would I tell a brand new loan officer? And I'll be honest with you, I don't like that question, because the reality is the tools and the resources that I have, I know how to use them, and I know how to use them strategically, right? If I tell, what I'm really saying is, hey, I'm going to tell a loan officer how to use these tools and these resources, but I'm just going to tell them. That really doesn't do anything. I think the gap in a new loan officer becoming a successful loan officer is the support and the challenge that loan officer has when they come into the business, right? So there's so many people right now recruiting off of support, but all support really is just the tools necessary to make it happen, right? But there's this other piece to it. There's this challenge piece to it, which comes along with the accountability, which comes along with the real like leadership piece of this. And I think that if you can bring somebody on and say, hey, I'm going to support you with the results while I challenge you to get the result. The challenge piece of leading these loan officers is saying, hey, I'm going to show you how to do this, but show me you know how to do it. And I think the gap is not the loan officer. The gap is the support and the challenge of a branch manager or a leader that has a direct responsibility to support and challenge the loan officers that they're leading. And I think that's the gap. The gap is leadership.
Right.
And if the leadership isn't there, there's so many loan officers that fail because of it.
Completely agree with you, man. I mean, on this show, over and over again, it comes up all the time. You see a trend in high performing originators typically are getting their start in high performing environments. They're around top producers. They see what the work ethic is that it takes to do that kind of volume. The standard is higher. There's a mentorship aspect to being in that environment that's different than being in sort of the average branch in the industry. So totally hear what you're saying there. I think for any young loan officer, it's be around the right people, be around the people that are going to show you the way and not just tell you the way and let you find your way on your own. So great call out there. Now, transitioning a little bit, because you touched on it slightly, you've built your business a lot through social media. You're I think you're very great on there. The content that you put out is very smart. It comes across as very intentional. It's not just the corporately packaged gobbledygook that's out there. No offense to the marketing teams, but it's very like It's authentically you. What does your framework look like for social media day to day for you?
This is and I'm with you. Like, no disrespect to the marketing teams, but I turn off all my marketing. But you said it right. Social media has to be intentional for the person that is doing the social media, whereas marketing teams on these places have to be very general because who knows who's going to use it, right? So no, they do their thing. For me, when it comes to the intentionality of social media, and this is especially for people maybe that you want to be part of social and don't know how to do it, is that I think a lot of people try to make social media fit into their day when in reality you could make your day, sorry, scratch that, reverse. You could, people try to make their day fit into social media when in reality you can make social media fit into your day. And what I mean by that is that there's so many people that are concerned with the camera setup, the lighting, the editing, making this high produced video, when in reality, the content that is performing right now is you have an idea driving down the road, just press the record button, record it and post it. Like, some of that content right now is the best. So for me, what I want to do is I'm trying to right now on social establish authority, because again, there's tons of content out there, tons of content, but it's all about establishing the trust and authority with an audience that really likes you. And it's identifying the audience and then just making more of that content. So I don't want to just like throw things out there to make a video, to just put stuff out there. So I have an X amount of number of videos posted. I want to say, okay, what do people want to see? And I'm going to make it. But on the flip side of that, Connor, what I've noticed is that you have to make the boring content. Like, you have to make the boring reels and the boring content over and over again, and house them in playlists, house them on YouTube, house them in certain areas, because right now ChatGPT wants to know who you are. All right. So right now is the best time than ever to start this relationship with ChatGPT. So ChatGPT will refer you. So when I'm creating content, when I'm looking at it, I'm saying, man, what am I doing right now that I could record and just put out there so people can watch it, people can enjoy it? I think it's less about the mass produced and it's more about the intentional, just really good content. So
And
that's
so
what
when you talk about housing it, are you referring to just starting a YouTube channel, maybe getting a Substack account and setting up a blog there so that it's searchable? Because I'm not a Chat GPT expert. I don't know if it's finding me on social so much or if it's more I need to create a separate environment for those things so that it can be found.
So imagine if I were to ask you and say, hey, I really need a contractor, right? Or I need somebody in some profession. You're going to go to the people that you know and people that you trust, people that you want to refer. But you want to refer them because you have a relationship with them, but they've also done something to prove their worth to you, right? So think of ChatGPT in the same way, is that ChatGPT, you want ChatGPT to know who you are. And ChatGPT wants to refer you, but you have to prove to it that you have the tools and the things necessary to be referred. And I think of it almost like a loop. A lot of times what happens is we have content everywhere and we have it all branded differently. And what it does is it sends ChatGPT to a bunch of dead end roads, right? It goes and finds information, but it can't get it back to you. So what I really want to do, and I created this GPT where you can plug in your information and it will give you a framework of how to become more searchable. It's like the AI visibility matrix, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
basically what it does is it creates this loop. It takes it from branches on a tree and just makes it a circle and says, hey, I'm going to take everything of who you are and I'm going to put it in a circle so that when ChatGPT goes and it finds something, it sees something that takes it to another thing that's connected to you, which takes it to something else that is connected to you, which brings it back to the home source, the home page, where it says, oh, this guy does all this. Oh man, he has all this information out there. I trust him. And if I trust him, the person searching for him should trust him. Therefore, I want to refer him. ChatGPT wants to make the user happy. ChatGPT wants to make me happy when I'm searching for something, right? The better the output, the more happy I'm going to be with ChatGPT. So I have to, on the back end, make ChatGPT really confident in referring me. So that's you got to have the blogs, you got to have the YouTube with the boring content. Like, make the content that says, hey, you need 3.5% down on an FHA loan. Make it once and then house it, right? And then don't brand yourself as a million different names. Don't be like the mortgage golfer over here, and then, Daniel Solis over here, and then pickleball, over here. And it's like, have a consistency. If you're consistent, ChatGPT will consistently refer you. So I think social and AI it's not just like, it's imperative. Like, it's here. It is here.
Would you agree with we're going beyond just personal brand, and now we're into you need to have a personal ecosystem. Is that
Yeah.
kind of where we're at today in the industry?
I think that you have to have a consistent brand, consistent ecosystem of multiple sources, like, to make ChatGPT trust you. If you go on there and you ask it a question, before it actually loads a response, it'll show what it's searching. Like, it'll show the little
Hmm.
areas that it's searching. I mean, look where they're searching: Zillow, Reddit. Like, Reddit is one of the big sources that ChatGPT goes to, right? So if you're not on Reddit giving out information, giving out advice, well, then ChatGPT doesn't know who you are. So the reviews, I mean, I still think Google reviews and all those things are very important, but I also think that it's also like, what authority are you establishing in this ecosystem to say, okay, ChatGPT, trust me, refer me,
Hmm.
like me, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And I don't go to Google anymore and ask questions because it's too general. I go to ChatGPT and say, hey, compare these two items. Hey, where should I do? ChatGPT, create me a weekly list of groceries, right? So, I go there everywhere now.
yeah.
And more people
So
are.
if I'm a loan officer and I'm kind of struggling to get started, what would be your advice on just where to start?
Yep. On social, or are we talking on AI?
Let's go with AI because I think that's probably more where we're headed. Now, social is probably a part of the AI piece, but let's go with AI. Let's skip ahead.
If you want a basic, like just a basic thing, open up ChatGPT right now and say, hey, I'm looking to get a mortgage in whatever your city is, whatever your zip code is, and say, can you recommend me a loan officer? If your name is not on that list, you have work to do. Okay. And then you can say to it, hey, I want to make sure my name is on this list. Give me a step by step instruction to make sure I appear. And it's going to take time, right? Because it does take time to learn. It takes time to it could take weeks, take months. But what you at least get the framework, or the little bridge trail of what you need to do to become more searchable and discoverable through AI. And that doesn't take an insane prompt master or all these like different. It's, hey, who should I get a mortgage from in 23455? Perfect. I'm not on that list. Give me a step by step instruction. Highest priority first to get on that list.
Yeah, it's great advice. 15, 30 minutes a day, knocking out a little bit of that, making progress towards that list. Like you said, it may take some time, but it's all, how do you eat the elephant, right? One bite at a time. And so you got to put
The
in the
time.
work and get there. Now you mentioned something to me in the past that really stood out, and that was that, everyone has the potential to be a referral partner. And that kind of changes the lens that you kind of look through. How does that mindset change the way you move through your day? Because I thought it was really smart.
I drive people nuts. I drive people nuts. And what I mean that is that when I start looking about, like, how did I take off so fast? How did I have results very quick? I just made myself hyper aware of of the surroundings, and understanding that everybody outside of myself, everybody outside of my front door is a referral source to me. But this is the important piece that people miss, is that it's not their job to know that. It's my job to make sure they remember that. So if I'm out there and I'm assuming that my next door neighbor is going to refer me, I'm very incorrect. But if I go to my next door neighbor and occasionally say, hey, look, if you know anybody that is potentially talking about getting a mortgage, or you've heard them mention refinancing, people ask me this all the time, if they can share my number. I just want to tell you that, feel free to give it to them. Right. But it's a constant reminder. It's like social, right? It's being that viral feed of that thing that you see all the time, and being that in other people's faces. But man, even so, when I'm out to dinner, this is going to sound crazy. I could be on a date night with my wife, and she's not here to hear this, but she'll say, that's true. If I hear somebody say the word house, moving, or anything, I have no shame in the game that I'll turn and say, hey, look, I do mortgages. I do mortgages. If you need help, like, I'm here to help you.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. I love it. It's like, what'd you say? House? Now, you've helped a lot of families. You get people in the homes every day. What's a borrower story that has really stuck with you or maybe reminded you kind of why you do what you do?
Oh man, a borrower story. There's so many of them. Two come to mind. I'll give you two. One, so we do a lot of VA loans, a lot of just military home buyer loans. And there was this one guy that came to us and he was told that he couldn't purchase, right? I love the people that come to us and say somebody else said no, right? It goes back to my 30%. And he told us, he was like, hey, so we've been told no a number of times. He didn't have the best credit. And come to find out, he had a foreclosure that the county or somebody messed this whole thing up. And I was like, man, I can't, this guy's getting this house because he had lost a son, and then his daughter was special needs and she was in a wheelchair, and this house was being built custom for him. Like the builder was even moving things around to make the front door a little bit bigger. He's been denied so many times. I'm getting chills thinking about it. Is like, he came to us and he was just like, I don't have anything else that I can do. I need your help. And I mean, at the end of the day, like, guidelines are guidelines, right? So for me, I'm just like, I'm going to figure this out. Man, we ended up calling the state representative. We got in there and we were just like, so we need you to be for the people and fix something. And he was able to fix something with the clerk's office and the foreclosure to get his entitlement restored, all these different things. And when he closed and he got his keys, man, he just said, just thank you for not giving up on me. And I have to remember that in everything that I do. I just have to hear that. Thank you for not giving up on me. So when I see these loans and these people come to me and just say, hey, so we filled out an application and this loan officer, they just didn't even call us back. I'm like, man, I just can't give up. Like, I can't give up on people. And maybe it takes a little bit more time. Am I willing to sit on a phone call and help somebody that I know is not going to go with our team? I am, because remember what I said in the beginning is like, it's more than a loan number to me. It's people. So that was one story. And then the next story isn't as long, but got to the closing table and I went to the closing and I was talking to them and they were like, we didn't tell you this, but we were homeless for a long time. We were homeless for a very long time and we worked really hard to get to this point. And I just want to tell you, thank you, because we have a place that we can turn a key. And I'm like, how often do we take for granted the ability to put a key in a key slot, turn it and open up a door? And like, in reality, these people, they didn't have that. And for them to look at me and just say, hey, thank you for giving me the opportunity to open up a front door. Dude, it blew my mind. And so I take these stories and I take these people and I take them with me in every loan that I originate and everywhere I go. And I just say, how can I be a better loan officer?
That's amazing, man. And so with that in mind, as you think into the future, the next chapter or whatever you want to call it, what are you most focused on improving or building right now?
This is a very simple statement. You can use it. Ready? Is I want to make sure that we're leveraging tech strategically and personalizing relationships deeply. That is my 2026. If you want my vision for 2026, it's leveraging tech strategically and personalize relationships deeply. And what I mean by that is saying I want to have the systems and the tech in place to where my business is going to run very smooth, but I don't want anybody to know I'm doing it. Not in a secret way, but as in man, we have such a relationship that I haven't taken myself out of the relationship and allowed AI to run my business. I want to still run the AI. I still want to be the liaison between the technology and the people, right? And so for me, going into 2026, man, I am always about going where the crowds are not. Always. It's everything that I've done. When I see people running towards something, I take a step and I stop and I turn around and say, okay, what were we doing? And right now, everybody's running to social still. Everybody's running full on to AI, which I think is important. But what I'm saying is, all right, I'm going to stop for a minute, turn around and say, how can I go back to the relationship piece of this? Like, how can I go back and have a conversation? There's people out there just don't even know how to have a conversation without the AI. You scroll through social right now, and I'm like, are any of these posts actually legitimate thoughts these people are having? Legitimate thoughts. So for me, I just made a commitment that, I'm not gonna lie, I've posted stuff that have come from like Claude or ChatGPT, but for me now, I'm like, I won't allow it to generate an idea for me. I will not allow ChatGPT or Claude to generate an idea. Will I allow it to help me structure? Sure. Make it sound a little better? Sure. But the idea and the framework and what the content is going to be is coming from Daniel AI. It's coming from Daniel's mind, right? It's not coming from Chat or Claude.
Right. Yeah, that's so important. Great call out there. We can get into that habit because AI has a tendency to kind of take you down the rabbit hole and start to create on your behalf. And it still needs to be your idea, and it still needs to be from, the right place, or it can start to take on a life of its own. And so I think that's a great call out. And man, I'm impressed by you. You're polished. I love that you have so much intention with what you say and clearly have goals for the future and know exactly where you're going. So, certainly looking forward to what's next. As we wrap up here, is there any bit of advice that you would give someone listening to this on just how to be more effective as a loan officer?
Yeah, 100%. You got to have the right people around you. I think, and a lot of people will say this, I have the best team. I have the best team surrounding me. This is not a Daniel show. This is not. I have two of the most loyal, amazing people that surround me, that support people every single day. And those two people, without those two people, I don't get to do this kind of stuff. Man, my team is amazing. Amazing, amazing. So when you get to a place where you hire, make sure that you just don't count people out because of an experience thing. I hire based off of personality, and then I'll teach you how to be the loan officer. I don't want to hire the loan officer that doesn't have the person. I need the personality, the humility, and the drive, and then I'll teach you how to be a loan officer. And then the other thing is figure out time management. Don't allow your day to become accidental. Make your day very intentional. Be very good at scripting, very good at all your power hour calls, your update calls. Make sure that you don't allow your database to fall by the wayside here. Be in your database every single day. So yeah, I would say those are some quick little nuggets.
Awesome, man. Well, Daniel, thanks for being on the lowdown. Really appreciate this conversation. I know it brought a ton of value to anybody who's listening, and just best of luck to you in the future, man.
Awesome, Connor. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
You bet.